Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Hjalmar Nilsonne. I'm the CEO at Watty, and I'm really excited to be here tonight to talk about my company's recent adventures in hardware land. So our whole story is that 10 months ago, we raised 3 million euros in funding from EQT Ventures, one of the biggest venture funds in Europe. And we did that as a pure software company, just making a software product, what investors like to hear. And that was 10 months ago. 8 months ago, we told the board that the only way for us to actually follow the vision of the company was to make a massive pivot and deliver a product end-to-end, essentially making us a hardware company. And 1 week ago, I was in China fetching our first production series of our hardware. So it's been a really exciting few months. Let me just tell you really briefly what we do, and then I can tell you why we did this. So what is a device that you install in your home? It's a single device, you see it here, and it keeps track of what the different appliances in your home are doing. So with our product, you can check anything from, is my oven on right now, to how many espressos did I make last month? So how do we know what your espresso machine is doing if we don't have a hardware anywhere near your espresso machine? So we at Watty, we're still largely a software company, and we've become the market leader in a technology called disaggregation, where we match patterns in how a specific appliance uses energy, such as an espresso machine, and we find that pattern in your total energy consumption data. We call those fingerprints. So every device uses energy in a slightly different way, and by identifying the fingerprint, we can identify it in your total energy load. So that we're essentially making the full smart home in one single low-cost box that keeps track of all the different appliances in your home. So we think this is it's like the barrier of getting into the smart home becomes like 100 times lower with a product like this. And we think it is probably the only way to give all the households in Europe total control of their energy use, which is something we think is not only possible, but we think it's necessary. And we also think it's going to delight our users a lot. This is our new product. And we've been around for almost 3.5 years. So what did we do all this time? So we used to have a software product, and the pitch was really easy. So every single home in the world already has a hardware installed. It's your energy meter, and it reads data all the time. So we just made the software to take the value, make this data valuable, essentially. And then everyone could push their data to us, and we would be a very successful company. What we found was that the customers, the people who actually had all these different types of hardware, they had really terrible data. Like the quality of the data was very, very poor. Not only was the resolution poor, but the actual, if you looked at the specs, most hardware didn't deliver anywhere close to what they said they were doing, basically. So we were trying to build what's a machine learning system, what people today call AI, that would work with really crappy data that we had no idea what was coming in. So our ability to guarantee the performance of our system was very difficult. I mean, you can imagine if you had like a real AI, like a human brain or something, and it was supposed to work equally well on like a mice or like an elephant. Like the sensory output, if we have no control of the data coming in, we have no control of what we can do with that data. So that led us to the very tough conclusion that the only way to make this really work well is to control the whole system end-to-end and to make a hardware that can do that. And I mean, you always try to sound smart when you talk about your own decisions in a company, but the truth was the companies that were rolling this out, they were willing to invest to get their hardware to work more than 2 times what it would cost for us to make a hardware that was much better. So we're like, we're pretty stupid, huh? So we're asking this customer to spend all this money to get the hardware that is of very poor quality when we could deliver much better hardware much cheaper. So it's sort of an obvious move in hindsight. So 9 months from basically idea to shipping, and we're starting to install this in April and May. We would love to have some of you hardware folks involved in our early adopter community that we call the Watty 500. So we have a special deal for you if you're interested, or if you're just interested about hearing how we got this done in 9 months. I'm very happy to talk about that as well. So please come and see me after. Thanks.